Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the ocean's biggest puzzles, the pomfret. This is a wild story about a fish with a serious identity crisis, some truly bizarre biology, and a price tag that can go from ridiculously cheap to eye-wateringly expensive. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so let's kick things off back in 2002. There was this crazy rumor online about a man eating fish down in Venezuela, with these terrifying pictures. Now that story kind of fell apart, but it accidentally uncovered something pretty shocking. A fish that's often sold as pomfret in markets is, believe it or not, a very close cousin of the piranha. So the big question is, how in the world did a river fish from South America get the same name as a super prized ocean delicacy?
And this is where the price paradox really gets interesting. While that piranha-like pomfret is super cheap, a real pomfret can cost a small fortune. We're talking prices hitting 800 yuan per jin. That's over 50 bucks a pound, especially around the Lunar New Year when it's considered this huge luxury item. So here's the deal. Buying a pomfret is basically a lottery. A high price doesn't mean you're getting a great fish, and a low price doesn't mean it's bad. You could shell out a ton of money for an old, frozen pomfret that tastes awful, or you could stumble upon a total bargain that's delicious. It's this confusion that makes the pomfret such a complete mystery for shoppers. To really solve this whole paradox, we have to understand the true pomfret itself. And honestly, it's one of the weirdest, most fragile creatures in the entire ocean. It's almost like something from another planet. Let me ask you something, and this is a question that stumps even people who've spent their whole lives by the coast. Have you ever actually seen a live pomfret? The answer, almost 100% of the time, is a hard no. And there's a very, very strange reason for that. You see, when a pomfret is alive, it has this incredible, almost magical ribbon flowing from its tail. But get this, within just a few minutes of dying, that phantom tail completely falls off and disappears. To this day, scientists have no idea what it's for. Finding a pomfret with a ribbon still on is like the culinary equivalent of finding a unicorn. This list just shows you how unbelievably fragile they are. It's almost comical. These fish are basically professional drama queens. Too much light, too much noise, too many other fish, not enough other fish, touching the side of a net. Pretty much anything will cause them to just die of stress. Honestly, it's a miracle they've survived this long. So how on earth does a creature this delicate survive out in the big bad ocean? Well, it evolved a pretty radical solution. Its body. It's flat as a pancake, kind of like a UFO, with all its internal organs squished down to almost nothing. This shape makes it the Fujiwara Takumi of the sea. You know, the legendary driver from the anime Initial D? While predators like tuna are like Formula One cars built for speed, the pomfret can make these insane, physics-defying 90-degree turns in an instant to get away. All right, so that's the fish itself. But the next part of this mystery is a full-blown identity crisis. The name pomfret has become this generic label slapped on dozens of different fish, which, as you can imagine, creates total chaos for anyone trying to buy one. And here it is, the root of the problem. On the left, you've got the 5 true pomfret brothers. These guys are all in the same family, and they're the ones people pay top dollar for. On the right, the imposters. The golden pomfret is the one you see farmed most often, and that red pomfret? Yep, that's our piranha relative from South America, also called a pecu. So how do you keep from getting fooled? It all comes down to the fins. This is the crucial point. Flip the fish over and look at its belly. A true pomfret has evolved to have absolutely no pelvic fins. None. It is their single biggest tell. After that, just use common sense. Look for bright, clear eyes, and definitely stay away from any fish with yellow spots on its skin. That's a dead giveaway. It's been frozen and thawed for who knows how long. Okay, so you have this incredibly rare, extremely fragile fish. This kicked off a 30-year-long scientific mission with a simple question. Can you possibly farm a fish that literally dies if you look at it wrong? For decades, the answer seemed to be a big, fat no. But then, scientists finally cracked the code, and their solution was pure genius. It's a 3-step process. First, since you can't capture the adults alive, they just collect the fertilized eggs right out of the ocean. Second, and this is my favorite part, baby pomfret are super picky eaters, but they love jellyfish. So the researchers feed fish meal to the jellyfish and then feed those jellyfish to the baby pomfret. And finally, to keep them from stressing out, they invented a special feeding tray that hangs in the water so the fish can eat without ever touching the bottom of the tank. Brilliant!
This breakthrough was a total game changer. For the first time in history, live pomfret could actually be delivered to restaurant kitchens. And while it's still a premium fish, farming brought the price way down from those crazy highs of the wild-caught ones. It made this amazing delicacy just a little more accessible for everyone.
So we've untangled the biology and the business side of things. But the pomfret story goes back way, way further. This fish has a super rich cultural history that stretches across continents and all the way back through the centuries.
I mean, check this out. In Tang Dynasty China, more than 1,000 years ago, pomfret was already a legendary food. A scholar wrote about making a pomfret porridge that was so good even the bones would dissolve and become soft enough to eat. It led to this famous story called Dog's Regret, because when the meal was over, there wasn't a single scrap left for the poor dog waiting under the table.
And this timeline just shows you what a global rock star this fish is. In ancient Japan, it was a prized substitute for fresh bonito in landlocked Kyoto. In the Middle East, it's called zubaidi, and it's one of the few fish considered sacred by some sects of Shia Islam. And all of that intense demand, plus some serious overfishing in the 70s, is what really lit a fire under scientists to figure out how to farm it.
So with all this amazing history, you gotta wonder about its name in Mandarin Chinese, cāng yu. The character for cāng can have let's just say, a less than flattering meaning. How did such a beloved fish get stuck with a name like that?
Well, you can thank the famous Ming Dynasty herbalist Li Shizhen for this one. In his massive encyclopedia of medicine, he put forward this totally wild theory that the fish was named for this supposedly promiscuous habit of attracting other fish with its saliva. It's a bizarre, completely unproven idea that just sort of stuck. Luckily, in southern dialects like Cantonese, the name doesn't have any negative vibe at all.
So, when you put it all together, the big takeaway is that the pomfret is so much more than just a fish. It's this incredible survivor with alien biology, it's a culinary icon with a 1,000-year history, and it's a symbol of the amazing human creativity it took to finally master the art of raising it.
Which really just leaves us with one last thought. We managed to domesticate a fish that literally dies from anxiety. It kind of proves that with enough ingenuity, maybe nothing is impossible. So you have to wonder, what's next? What other mysterious creatures from the deep are going to be on our dinner plates tomorrow? Thanks for joining this explainer.